While the Walt Disney Company struggles to keep Tiana's Bayou Adventure working, all these expensive animatronics are supposed to be the thing that sets Disney apart. Meanwhile, Dark Universe over at Universal Studios appears to be hinting at an animatronic that is so remarkable, people are asking if it was actually CGI. Let's talk about the Wolfman over here on That Park Place. Hello, I am Jonas J. Campbell, an investigative reporter for That Park Place, and here with me is my comrade in arms, fellow child of the moon, Mr. VashSky. Vash, are you a werewolf?
I don't think so, but I don't know, Jonas. Do you see a full moon out there? I'm getting a little worried.
I don't, but your the RGB over there on your tower, it has a moon-like quality to it. So we had a conversation. The Dark Universe stuff is fascinating to me because this is one after the other. Every few weeks, Universal Studios is premiering another video about another great land. We're seeing lots of hints at big things that are coming. Some of those are obviously pointing back to other lands that exists in other theme parks and things like that. But Dark Universe, this seems like it's something pretty special, pretty unique, and only something that Universal Studios can do right now. Vash, what do you think is going on over there at Dark Universe that Disney is missing out on?
Quality, it is absolutely breathtaking. You are delivering an experience that people, I think, have wanted for a long time. Now, I know there are some naysayers, there's some haters saying, oh, yeah, but the monsters are 8 years old or whatever. Look, monsters never go out of style, surely, at least in the way that Universal is conveying them. That's, I think, an important distinction here that is worth bringing up. Delivering what the guest actually wants and doing it in a way that that I think they've imagined in their heads rather than a new take, modern take, all this kind of garbage or leaving it to an IP that may be relevant, at the time, sure, but may not be relevant years from now, whereas the monsters absolutely are. And that's the thing, Jonas. Like Villain's Land, for example, right? You hear about that and you go, okay, well, that sounds pretty interesting, but does it have to be kid friendly? Are there certain things that might hold it back? Whereas Universal, they have a little bit more of an edge. And they actually say that in that video. They say, yeah, we play around with kid friendly or family friendly to PG-13. So that's something else that kind of, separates them from the Wolfpack, you could say.
Right. And speaking of the Wolfpack, this is the thing that we're talking about right now. Obviously, Tiana's Bayou Adventure has struggled quite a bit in previews. There are some reasons why it sounds like that attraction might never work for them the way that they want it to work for them. There's more on that later. I'm not saying it will never work. There's just some people who have put forth that theory, and they're people that I tend to listen to. While they're struggling with animatronics, this video dropped, and this is just a short clip of what Epic Universe released in talking about Dark Universe. This right here, I thought that this was from a movie, maybe the Wolfman movie with Benicio del Toro, maybe it was CGI or something like that. Apparently, this is an in-camera shot of an existing animatronic that is going to be in Dark Universe over there at Epic Universe, or this is there now. Looking at this, the showmanship here, the fluidity of this animatronic, whether or not it just does this one motion over and over again, this looks amazing. And this looks like something that Disney has not been able to deliver in quite some time, or if ever. Vash, is Disney about to get beat out at the one thing that sets them apart?
I think they are, Jonas. We have been hearing about all kinds of things. We haven't really necessarily seen that, right? So now we're seeing it. We're seeing the fluidity. Look at the velocity that this moves. The speed at which this moves kind of gives me a little bit of, Disco Yeti vibes when that Yeti used to work, right? But you can see right here, I'm sure it'll be mounted differently and they'll all have overcome those issues. But the intensity of this is just something that's really unreal. And here's the thing, Jonas. You see Tiana and they're trying to leverage those A1000 figures, but then you think about it and you go, well, Tiana never really moved like that in the actual film. It's just kind of imagineering, attempting to get...
Yeah, okay, I mean, if we're really talking about the show scene here, Tiana waves her arms back and forth for no reason in particular while she says, hey, y'all, these people might be good for the band. And this right here, this is a Wolfman about to strike. Now, we did have a discussion of this over on That Park Place during our Extra Magic Hours live stream, and I want to go to our panel to hear what they had to say, because I think you're all going to enjoy it. And I like to get the reactions of the people that we trust here, the experts that usually show up here on That Park Place, because we're lucky enough to have them. Here we go. Because I have you all here. This is something that I don't usually, we don't do clips in the same way on this channel, but I wanted to have all of you here to bring this up. So Tiana's Bayou Adventure right now is the only thing that is coming to the theme park right now. And heaven help them, they have put all of these electric actuators into a musty, slimy, moldy, humid building in a Florida swamp. Whether or not it's still a swamp, it has lived on in that Florida area. And they might even have a situation there. We're seeing comments from some Imagineers who have worked on Splash Mountain that are saying those will never work in that building. You turn on those lights, you see black slime everywhere. And black slime and electric actuators do not go well together. Also, on top of that, they're just waving their arms back and forth for no particular reason. I don't understand why they're doing this. Wow.
If at all.
It's because they work automagically.
No, they don't.
While we used to talk about Disney's difference was the audio animatronics and how very specifically they were the ones who owned this technology, even though other people can obviously do it, that they were the only ones that can do it. Let's talk about this thing right here. This is not CGI.
Good.
That's not CGI?
Yeah, this is not
No.
right here.
They're talking about in this new park that like when Wolfman comes down at you like this, you're going to be able to feel the breath on the back of your neck. You're going to be able to, they will touch you. There's sensation. When they say these animated characters, they don't mean necessarily by computer. They're talking about animation in terms of moving, actuated, mechanical, in your face combination of VFX. I mean, I think I'm really looking forward to this. I mean, the way they describe this and this video in the last couple of days, this 6-minute video hyping up, this is just Dark Universe. There's 4 other worlds in Epic. This thing looks wicked. I mean, I cannot freaking wait for this.
Wow.
By the way, this is not a Disney or General Imagineering technology history. Universal owns the history of this feeling the breath, whatever. And you know how come? Sensurround.
Yeah,
Sensurround was speakers, so people thought it was an audio technology, but it wasn't. It was a vibratory technology of moving the air in a way that your face felt when you were on roller coaster going down the hill. It's all there in their genes, going all back to, 1975, something like that? And what you said about, we can't do it with the current technology, so let's make something new. That's how that happened.
Yeah.
They literally, Sherwin Vega and Universal invented. And by the way, where it migrated out into the world, they did 1,500 theaters with Sensurround eventually, and they made 4 movies, and they couldn't think of anything else, and that was the end of it. And it was like, well, what the hell do we do with all this hardware? Answer, you know who they sold it to? And they sold twice as many discos. They made more money on it from that, but somebody has to come up with another reason. You know, and they did.
We come full circle here because
that's my point.
The Disco Yeti, of course, comes to mind. And we see something like this, and the fact that Disney can't even fix the Yeti, which that Disco Yeti is not even the B mode on the Yeti; it's the C or the D mode. Hey, I'm going to bring this up because it's a perfect one for this moment. Kiss My Grits, good friend of the channel here, for $10. Notice that Epic Universe actually looks like the initial concept art we saw 4 years ago. Compare this to the initial concept art for the Epcot upgrade, Galaxy's Edge, and Tiana. Hashtag, I'm going to add that in here. Dang it, Bob.
Yeah, look, don't get me started on Project Gamma version 12 or whatever the fudge this bologna sausage was at Epcot. This thing gave you what it did. This thing delivered what it gave you plus. That's the difference, right? This is like, here's the concept. This is what we're going for. We're going to bring you some things that have never been done before. You know, you guys got to see this little, flash in the pan Wolfman thing. But I'm telling you right now, every animatronic in here is A1000 plus because they spent a ton of money on this.
That's the T1000 culture. The T1000.
Okay. Right. I'm sorry. I'm just saying, like in animatronic terms. But the goal is that
they all look like Robert Patrick.
Well, maybe, but what they do look like is that they spent an awful lot of time and they spent an awful lot of resources. They went to Garner Holt. They went to a lot of people to make this happen. There are only a handful of people in the world that can do this. They went to those people and said, do this.
Yeah.
And then they paid for it. And Disney doesn't do that anymore. First of all, they used to have everybody in-house. Those people aren't in-house anymore. Most of the stuff now either comes from Garner Holt or somebody else.
Right.
Universal hired all the people that used to be in-house at Disney. And then they went out and they hired other people to do that. I don't think you understand what that is. That's new levels of amazing.
Yeah.
I mean, in 1,000 different ways.
And it makes sense for these characters to actually move the way they are moving and, with exaggerated move points and so forth. And they weren't content with just, producing animatronics that move well. You'll have a walking Frankenstein in the Frankenstein attraction, and you'll have the Phantom of the Opera actually playing the organ. Now, what's interesting about that is that it'll feature 14 individual flame points that shoot vertical flames over 3 feet in the air and dance in synchronicity with the organ music. They weren't just content with just giving you great audio animatronics. It was about imbuing them with amazing, one of a lifetime experiences with it.
They really thought of everything, at least so it seems. And this is the deal. There's two sides to this. The big thing is that I look at this and I see the picture that you had up. This is what this was supposed to be in Epcot, this artistic rendition. And we look at that and we see, well, doesn't look like that's actually going to happen. And when you really juxtapose that to the fact that for the last almost year now, Disney has been talking about this cryptic $60 billion capex into parks and experiences. Where the frick is this going? I mean, seriously, I know they're spending a lot of money on extra hotels and things like this and overseas
and DVC
parks. Right. Mm-hmm. They couldn't throw an extra $1 billion back into Orlando at this point to make sure that the stuff that's actually sitting on the ground that they need to actually hold the line on before Comcast shows up next year and drives a freaking tank over them. This is the kind of thing. I mean, we joke about Disney and talk about it. I still look at it from the financial side. I look at it from the stockbroker side. And again, I keep going back to the fact of if I was a Disney stockholder right now, I would be freaking pissed off because Disney has the capital to combat this in terms of Universal, not to take them out, but to give something that's competitive, to stay competitive. Exactly. Bob Iger laughed it off because that's Bob Iger's MO. Bob Iger sits on his own laurels. I'm the greatest person in the world. Everybody loves me. Here's the problem. When you live inside of that Disney psychosis for that many years, Disney's wonderful. We don't speak non-Disney words. We only speak certain Disney positive.
Right.
You
Disney
actually,
night.
after 20 years of it, Bob, honestly, and pardon my French here, I think Bob's starting to believe his own bullshit. Well, and that's the problem, is that he doesn't, they don't see that Universal is really about to just eat their lunch.
But Valiant, this is the point at which they kicked Eisner out the freaking door.
Yeah.
Right? Mm-hmm. Bob left. Eisner got kicked out, right? That was the time frame to get rid of Bob and find another place to go because they had lost their way. They have so substantially lost their way. Look down the street, okay? When you're looking at it from my side of the equation, you're watching the compliance and everything else in these animatronics, the attention to detail in the projections, the construction, the sight lines, everything. When you look at it in that finite, that level of fidelity that you're looking for all of the amazing things that make theme parks work, from the kinetics that happen at every eye level to the experience both day and night. Everything about what they're about to give us is miles ahead of everything outside of the last good thing that came out of there, which is Pandora. Because
Nelson Peltz warned him. He warned him. He warned him in the white papers. Where's the $60 billion going? This is big competition. Why aren't we taking it seriously? He warned them. They didn't want it. They didn't want to take it.
Marvin, do you have something to say there?
Yeah. So for me, there was always a list of things that I always felt Disney was always going to outdo Universal on. There was the immersion factor, the attention to detail, the food. And Disney, I think, also thought there was no way anyone was ever going to compete with them on that. They were Disney. You were going to come. You were going to spend your time in the Disney bubble and be immersed in their universe. It's Aesop's fable. It's the tortoise and the hare. Disney is the hare, and they sat back and they lazed about and they just like, oh, no, here's a dance party. We'll just do another dance party. That's what we'll do. And Universal's slow and steady, and they're about to win this race. And Disney's about to see it now and have that moment like the hare has at the end of that story, and start sprinting at the finish line. And it's too late. That they're going to be so far ahead.
Well, let's let the Wolfman play us off here. Vash, I love when we do these extra Magic Hours live streams. And also, it's something that we get to talk about that is exciting for the theme park space. Do you have anything you want to throw in before we wrap this up?
Incredibly excited to see finally this amazing land that we've been hearing so many rumors about, so much speculation about. We've been seeing patents, we've been seeing this, we've been seeing that. Now we're seeing our first images. I cannot wait for this to open. And I do think Universal might be eating Disney's wolf lunch here.
Hopefully they're not eating Disney themselves. Now, that being said, we want to throw this to our commenters. What do you think about this Wolfman animatronic and what's going on over there at Dark Universe? Let us know in the comment section down below. Of course, if you could hit the like button on this video, we would appreciate it. I often say the phrase over and over again because it's awkward, because it sticks in your brain. Like this video if you like this video. And of course, if you could consider doing it, we would really appreciate it. Consider subscribing to That Park Place for all the news that should be fun.
Thanks for watching That Park Place News. For more information, consider checking out www.thatparkplace.com. And don't forget to subscribe, share, like, and send this out on your favorite social media account.